Thus, alien warriors refused to fight human special forces. Part 1 in the year 2157. Humans had built homes on several planets near Earth. The best soldiers from Earth were called the Phantom Division. They were known for their smart fighting and mind tricks during battle. Commander Han Tai led these special soldiers. He had won many battles by using unexpected plans. He was not very tall, but his eyes showed that he thought deeply about everything. His calm voice made people trust him right away. Earth had just found a new star system called Vorax. The aliens who lived there looked like large lizards that stood on two legs. They had tough, scaly skin and sharp teeth. These aliens, called the Vorax, loved fighting and had taken over 12 other planets already. They thought being strong in battle was the most important thing in life. We need to talk to them before they see us as enemies, Han told his team on their ship. The Vorax respect strength, but they have never met humans before. Han's team had 5 members. Each one was the best at what they did. Sergeant Yun Do was the weapons expert. He could hit any target from very far away. Lieutenant Bei Min was the technology wizard who could hack into any system. Corporal Kang Il was the team medic who knew how to heal any wound. Private Choi Jae was the youngest and could speak many languages. Officer Oh Bin was the strongest and could win any hand-to-hand fight. Their ship landed on the main Vorax planet. Giant stone buildings reached up to the red sky. Vorax soldiers watched them with yellow eyes as they walked to the meeting hall. Emperor Kral sat on a throne made from the weapons of enemies he had defeated. He was bigger than the other Vorax, with dark green scales and a scar across his face. "So you are the humans," Emperor Kral said in a deep voice. "You look weak, but you have traveled far. That takes some courage." Han bowed slightly. "We thank you for meeting with us. Humans wish to know more about the mighty Vorax." The translator machines helped both sides understand each other, but some words did not translate well. When Han said his team came in peace, the Vorax understood it as submission. Emperor Kral smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "If you submit to us, we will be fair rulers." Han realized the mistake. "No, we do not submit. We wish to be friends and trading partners." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Friends? Vorax do not have friends. We have servants or enemies." The meeting was not going well. Tensions grew as both sides misunderstood each other more and more. Finally, Emperor Kral stood up. "Enough talk. Words mean nothing. Actions show the truth. We will have an honor test." Han's team looked at each other. They did not know what an honor test was, but it did not sound good. "What is this test?" Han asked. "Simple. My warriors will fight your guards in the arena. No killing, just until one side cannot continue. Then we will know who we are dealing with." Han knew refusing would be seen as weakness. "We accept." The arena was a large circle with high walls. Sand covered the ground and thousands of Vorax watched from seats above. Han's 5 team members stood in the center, looking small compared to the 30 Vorax warriors who entered from the other side. "This is not fair," whispered Choi Jae. "They have 6 times our numbers." "Stay calm," Han replied. "Remember your training. We are not here to win a fight. We are here to complete our mission of peaceful contact." The Vorax warriors carried spears and wore minimal armor. They believed too much protection showed fear. "Begin," shouted Emperor Kral from his special viewing box. The Vorax warriors charged forward with loud battle cries. Instead of meeting the charge, Han's team split up in different directions. "Smoke pattern Delta," Han ordered quietly into his communication device. Bei Min pressed a button on his wrist. Small devices thrown earlier around the arena released a thick mist. It was not harmful, but it blocked vision. The Vorax warriors stopped, confused. They could not see the humans anymore. "Use your heat sensors," ordered their leader, Sub-Commander Vex. But Kang Il had activated special suits that hid their body heat. "The Vorax could not find them in the mist. They are cowards," yelled Vex. "They hide instead of fight." Suddenly, Oh Bin appeared behind 2 Vorax warriors. Before they could turn, he pressed spots on their necks that made them fall asleep instantly. He disappeared into the mist again before anyone saw him. Across the arena, Yun Do fired darts that stuck to the scales of 3 more warriors. The darts released a medicine that made the warriors feel very tired and sit down. "What is happening?" roared Emperor Kral. "Find them!" The Vorax warriors grew more frightened as their numbers went down. They could not see or hear the humans, but their fellow warriors kept falling. Han used a device that could copy voices. "The humans are demons who can walk through walls," he said. making it sound like a Vorax voice coming from different directions. Young Vorax officer Draz was eager to prove himself. Despite orders to stay in formation, he broke away and ran through the mist, swinging his spear wildly. "I will kill one and bring glory to my name," he shouted. Han stepped out of the mist right in front of Draz. The young Vorax warrior smiled and stabbed with his spear. Han moved slightly to the side. The spear missed. Draz tried again and again, but Han avoided every attack without striking back. "Fight me, human," Draz screamed in frustration. "I am fighting you," Han said calmly. "I'm making you defeat yourself." Draz became so angry that he did not notice he was getting tired. His attacks grew slower. Finally, he fell to his knees, too exhausted to continue. All around the arena, the same thing was happening. The Phantom Division used the Vorax warriors' own strength against them, making them tire themselves out or tricking them into running into each other in the mist. After 20 minutes, 25 Vorax warriors were asleep or too tired to fight. 7 more were trapped in a sticky substance that Baymin had spread on the ground. The remaining 5 stood back to back, looking around in fear. "They are not fighting like warriors," one whispered. "They are hunting us like animals hunt prey." Sub-Commander Vex, the Vorax leader, was the only one still actively searching for the humans. "Show yourselves, cowards. Fight with honor," Han signaled his team. The mist began to clear. The 5 humans stood in a circle around the remaining Vorax. "We have been fighting," Han said. "Just not in a way you understand." Vex roared and charged at Han with his spear. Han stepped aside again, but this time he grabbed the spear as it passed. Using the Vorax warrior's own momentum, he pulled, sending Vex tumbling to the ground. Before Vex could get up, Han placed his boot gently but firmly on the Vorax's neck. "The test is over," Han announced. "No one has died. No one is seriously hurt, but the outcome is clear." The arena was completely silent. Emperor Kral stared with wide eyes. The mighty Vorax warriors, who had conquered 12 planetary systems, had been defeated by 5 humans without a single punch or kick being thrown. "What kind of fighting is this?" Emperor Kral finally asked. "It is called smart fighting," Han explained. "Why waste strength when your mind can win instead? Why kill when you can teach?" The Vorax War Council members whispered to each other. This was completely new to them. Their entire culture was based on showing strength through force and victory through killing enemies. "You have won the honor test," Emperor Kral admitted, "but I do not understand how." Han and his team were escorted back to their ship. The Vorax leaders needed to discuss what had happened. As they prepared to leave the planet, Choi Jae asked, "Did we make peace with them, Commander?" Han looked out at the red sky of the Vorax world. "No, but we gave them something to think about. Sometimes that is more powerful than any weapon." As their ship took off, the story of how 5 humans defeated 37 Vorax warriors without landing a single blow began to spread across the planet. The Vorax had never seen anything like it. Some called it magic. Others called it trickery, but Sub-Commander Vex, lying in his recovery chamber, knew the truth. The humans had shown a different kind of strength, one that the Vorax had never considered before. And for the first time in his life, he felt afraid not because the humans were strong, but because they made him question everything he believed about strength. Why alien warriors refused to fight human special forces. Part 4. 6 months into the conflict between humans and the Vorax, something unprecedented happened. A Vorax patrol vessel named Skullcrusher entered Earth space flying a white flag, the universal symbol for truce. Human defense ships surrounded it immediately. "Vorax vessel, state your purpose, Yar," demanded the human fleet commander. "We request asylum," came the reply in slightly broken human language. "We wish to speak with human special forces commanders." The humans were surprised. Vorax asking for asylum was unheard of. In Vorax culture, leaving your post was punishable by death. Something extraordinary must have happened. The ship was escorted to a neutral space station orbiting Jupiter. Scans showed 23 Vorax warriors aboard, all without heavy weapons. Earth's military leaders debated what to do. It could be a trap, some argued, or a genuine request, others countered. Finally, they decided to send Colonel Lee Jun of the Phantom Division to meet with the Vorax. Colonel Lee had 30 years of experience and had dealt with many alien species. His calm, thoughtful approach had resolved many difficult situations. Colonel Lee arrived at the space station with a small security team. His gray hair and lined face showed his age, but his eyes remained alert and kind. He wore a simple uniform without weapons, showing trust but also confidence. The leader of the Vorax group was Officer Mur, a battle-scarred veteran with dark green scales and one broken horn. He stood straighter than the other Vorax, trying to look dignified despite the shame of desertion. "I am Colonel Lee Jun." Lee introduced himself in the meeting room. "I understand you wish to speak with Phantom Division Command." Mur inclined his head slightly. "Yes, I am Officer Mur. These warriors and I have left our posts to come here." "In your culture that is punishable by death, is it not?" Lee asked directly. "Yes," Mur admitted. "We can never return home. But we had to come. We had to understand." "Understand what?" Mur looked at his fellow Vorax, then back at Lee. "All of us have encountered your special forces. All of us were defeated, but none of us were killed. This has caused confusion among many warriors." Colonel Lee nodded, beginning to see the picture. "Please explain further." "In Vorax culture, a true warrior kills his defeated enemy. It brings honor to both. The victor gains glory, and the defeated dies with dignity. But your warriors defeat without killing. They show, what is your word, a mercy?" "Yes, mercy," Lee confirmed. "This concept does not exist in Vorax warfare. It has caused many warriors to question our most basic beliefs. Some call your soldiers shadow demons with powers beyond normal combat. Others believe you are testing us in some way we do not understand." Lee listened carefully. This was a cultural crisis for the Vorax, not just a military one. "And what do you believe, Officer Mur?" Mur stood very still, struggling with his words. "I believe that we do not understand humans at all, and that this war will destroy the Vorax, not through battlefield defeats but by unraveling our most fundamental cultural beliefs." This was a profound insight from a being whose entire society was built around warfare and conquest. Lee was impressed. "Tell me about your encounters with Phantom Division operators," Lee suggested. One by one, the Vorax shared their stories. A female warrior named Lix described how Lieutenant Kim Sun had defeated her entire unit, using their own fear against them. A young warrior named Pax told how Captain Park Jin had rendered him unconscious and left a message of peace when he woke. Each story followed a pattern: defeat without death, strength shown through restraint rather than destruction. Many warriors now believe humans possess spiritual powers beyond physical combat, Mur explained. "They say you can move like ghosts, know our thoughts before we think them, defeat us with our own fear." Lee smiled slightly. "We have no special powers. We use psychology, environmental manipulation, and careful planning. We study our opponents and use their expectations against them." "But why not kill?" asked a Vorax warrior named Drex. "You had the power to destroy us. In our culture, that is what you do with power. In our culture, the highest use of power is knowing when not to use it," Lee explained. "Any creature can destroy. It takes greater strength to preserve life, even the lives of your enemies." The Vorax looked at each other, clearly struggling with this concept. Lee had an idea. "Officer Mur, why have you come here specifically? What do you want from us?" Mur straightened his shoulders. "We wish to learn. We believe the Vorax way of war is limited. We have conquered many worlds, but we have not grown as a species. We think perhaps humans have something to teach us." This was an extraordinary request from members of a warrior species known for their pride and rigid traditions. Lee realized he was witnessing a potential turning point in Vorax history. "What you're suggesting is a cultural exchange," Lee said thoughtfully. "Your warriors would learn from our trainers while offering insights into Vorax tactics and psychology." "Yes," Mur agreed, seeming relieved that Lee understood. "We cannot return to our people as we are now, but perhaps someday we could return with new knowledge that might change the path of the Vorax." Colonel Lee needed to consult with Earth's leadership. This kind of exchange was unprecedented, but it also presented an opportunity to resolve the conflict through understanding rather than continued fighting. The human leaders were divided. Some saw the potential for peace, while others worried about sharing human tactics with the enemy. After hours of debate, they agreed to a limited exchange program. The Vorax defectors would be granted asylum and allowed to learn from Phantom Division trainers. When Lee returned to the meeting room with the news, the Vorax warriors showed visible relief. In their culture, leaving their posts should have meant death. Instead, they were being offered a new beginning. "There is one condition," Lee told them. "You must help us understand Vorax psychology and tactics. This exchange goes both ways. We agree, Mur said quickly. Though some may call us traitors, we believe this is the true path to honor, learning a better way, even from former enemies. The next day, Colonel Lee introduced the Vorax to their primary trainer, Commander Han Tae, whose team had first demonstrated human special forces tactics in the arena 6 months earlier. Han looked at the Vorax with interest, rather than hostility. Welcome, he said simply. We have much to learn from each other. Officer Mur recognized Han immediately. You are the one who defeated 37 warriors without landing a single blow. Han nodded. And you will learn how we did it. But more importantly, you'll learn why we chose that approach. The training facility was on Earth's moon, away from population centers. It included combat rooms, classrooms, and living quarters designed to accommodate both humans and Vorax comfortably. For the first week, the Vorax struggled to adjust. Their entire lives had been built around Vorax military doctrine. Attack directly, show no fear, kill your enemies, die with honor if defeated. The human approach seemed alien and sometimes even offensive to their cultural values. During a hand-to-hand combat session, a Vorax named Krell became frustrated. Why do we practice stopping before the killing blow? In real combat you would not stop. Commander Han demonstrated again, moving slowly. The point is control. Perfect control means you choose whether to deliver that final blow. Without control, the choice is made for you by your training or emotions. But why choose not to kill an enemy? Krell insisted. Lieutenant Kim's son, who had joined the training team, stepped forward. Because today's enemy might be tomorrow's ally, she said, gesturing to the Vorax trainees. Like all of you, this simple statement silenced the room. The Vorax had never considered that enemies could become anything else. Slowly, day by day, the Vorax began to understand. They learned human techniques for non-lethal combat, for using the environment to their advantage for psychological warfare. In return, they taught the humans about Vorax physiology, culture, and military tactics. Officer Mur spent many hours with Colonel Lee, discussing philosophy rather than combat. In Vorax history, Mur explained one evening, we have a legend about the first emperor, who united our world through conquest. He killed all who opposed him, and was considered the greatest warrior ever born. And this is still your ideal? Lee asked. Mur looked troubled. It has been. But now I wonder, if he had found a way to unite our people without so much death, wouldn't that have shown even greater strength? Lee smiled. That's an important question. One that humans have struggled with throughout our own history. After 3 months of training, the Vorax defectors were not just learning human tactics. They were beginning to question their most basic assumptions about strength, honor, and the purpose of warfare itself. During one training exercise, a simulation of a hostage rescue, Officer Mur led a mixed team of Vorax and humans. They completed the mission without a single simulated casualty on either side. In traditional Vorax tactics, we would have lost at least half our warriors but killed all enemies, Mur noted afterward. Your way preserves life on both sides. And which approach shows greater skill? Han asked. Yours, Mur admitted without hesitation. Any creature can kill. It takes true mastery to subdue without destruction. This was a profound change in thinking for a Vorax warrior. Similar shifts were happening among the other defectors as well. Second, why alien warriors refuse to fight human special forces. Part 2. 3 months had passed since the honor test incident. The Vorax had not declared war on humans, but they had not made peace either. Instead, they began attacking small human settlements far from Earth. Lieutenant Kim's son led a team of Phantom Division soldiers. She was known for being smart and quick. Her black hair was cut short and she always stayed calm even when things went wrong. We have a new mission, she told her team on their ship. The mining outpost on Helios 9 is under attack by Vorax raiders. We need to save the miners and push the Vorax back. Her team consisted of 4 skilled operators. Sergeant Ryugi was the explosives expert who could turn anything into a useful tool. Corporal Nam Hee was the scout who could move without making any sound. Private Kwon Jun was the tech specialist who could hack any computer. Officer Yang Se was the combat expert who knew 7 different fighting styles. The miners are hiding in the deep tunnels, Kwon Jun said, looking at his screen. About 50 people. The Vorax have over 100 warriors searching for them. Kim's son studied the map of the mining facility. It was a maze of tunnels going deep into the planet. The miners knew these tunnels well, but the Vorax did not. "We will use that to our advantage," she said. "The Vorax expect us to come in with guns and try to fight them directly. We won't do that." Their ship landed quietly on the dark side of Helios 9. The mining facility was built into a mountain. Smoke rose from several buildings that had been burned. "Look," whispered Nam-He, pointing to the Vorax ships. "That big one is a command ship. Their leader must be inside." Kim Sun used her special glasses to zoom in on the Vorax warriors walking around. They moved in groups of 10, carrying heavy weapons. They looked nervous, constantly looking over their shoulders. "Something is strange," she said. "They won hard battles against other species, but they look afraid here." "Maybe they heard about what happened with Commander Han's team," suggested Ryugi. Kim Sun nodded. "We can use that fear. Quan Jun, can you tap into their communication system?" Quan Jun worked on his small computer for a few minutes. "Yes, I can hear them now. They are being led by someone called Sub-Commander Vex." Kim Sun remembered the reports. Vex was the Vorax leader who had been defeated by Commander Han in the arena. He had something to prove now. "Perfect," she said with a small smile. "Let's move. Stay in the shadows and no killing unless absolutely necessary. Remember, we want to defeat them, not destroy them." The team slipped into the mining facility through a hidden entrance. The tunnels were dark and narrow. The Vorax, being much larger than humans, had trouble moving quickly in such small spaces. Kim Sun's first move was to gather information. They needed to find the miners and learn the Vorax search pattern. Nam-He went ahead, moving silently through the shadows. She returned 30 minutes later. "The miners are safe in the lowest level. The Vorax can't fit through the smallest tunnels. But the miners are running out of air and food." "And the Vorax?" asked Kim Sun. "They search in groups of 10. They're using heat sensors to try to find the miners. They're frustrated and getting angry at each other." Kim Sun thought for a moment, then laid out her plan. "We'll use their frustration against them. Ryugi, set up sound devices in tunnels A, C, and F. Nam-He, mark false heat signatures in sections 2 and 5. Quan Jun, prepare to cut their lights on my signal. Jiangsu, you're with me." The team split up to put the plan into action. Ryugi placed small devices that could make sounds like people walking or talking. Nam-He used tools that gave off heat similar to human body heat. Quan Jun hacked into the facility's power system. From the command center, Kim Sun watched through security cameras as the Vorax warriors responded to the false signals. They ran toward the sounds and heat marks only to find empty tunnels. "Now," she said into her communicator. "Quan Jun, cut the lights in section 3. The tunnels went completely dark. The Vorax warriors shouted in confusion. They had good night vision, but the total darkness of the underground tunnels was different from the darkness of night. "Ryugi, sound pattern blue," Kim Sun ordered. Strange noises began to echo through the tunnels. Whispers, footsteps coming from all directions, and sounds like people moving through walls. The Vorax warriors fired their weapons at shadows. Kim Sun then spoke into her communicator using the Vorax language that she had studied. Her voice echoed through the tunnels. "The human shadows are here. They walk through walls and steal your courage." The Vorax warriors looked at each other with wide eyes. They had heard stories about the human shadows who had defeated 37 warriors without fighting. "It's a trick," shouted one Vorax leader. "Do not listen." But doubt had already taken root. When Nam-He rolled small metal balls that released sleeping gas, many warriors ran away instead of standing their ground. Others fired wildly, hitting nothing but rock walls. Sub-Commander Vex's angry voice came through their communication devices. "Stand and fight. They are just humans. Find them and kill them." But the Phantom Division team was never where the Vorax looked. They moved through hidden passages, setting traps and creating distractions. They used the mining facility like a giant maze, separating the Vorax into smaller and smaller groups. Quan Jun had discovered something important about Vorax hearing. "Their ears are sensitive to certain high sounds," he told Kim Sun. "Not painful to us, but very uncomfortable for them." Kim Sun had him program their sound devices to emit these frequencies. When activated, the Vorax warriors covered their ears and could not focus on fighting. One by one, Vorax groups either retreated to their ships or were temporarily disabled by the team's non-lethal weapons. Some fell asleep from gas. Others were trapped in tunnels when Ryugi caused small controlled cave-ins, and some simply got lost in the maze of passages. After 6 hours, the once fearsome Vorax raiding party was in chaos. Over 30 warriors had fled back to their ships. 20 more were sleeping from the gas. 15 were trapped in various tunnels. The rest were huddled in defensive positions, jumping at every sound. Subcommander Vex was furious. He had lost control of his warriors. Reports came in of humans who appeared and disappeared like ghosts, of weapons that stopped working for no reason, of tunnels that seemed to change direction. Enough, he finally shouted. All warriors return to the command center. We will make a final stand there. About 25 Vorax warriors gathered with Vex in the main control room of the mining facility. They stood back to back, weapons pointed outward. When the humans come, we will show them true Vorax strength, Vex told them. No more running in these tunnels. Here we make our stand. The lights in the control room flickered, then went out completely. When they came back on seconds later, Lieutenant Kim Sun was standing alone in the center of the room, surrounded by the Vorax warriors. How did you get in here? Vex demanded, pointing his weapon at her. Kim Sun looked small compared to the tall, muscular Vorax, but she showed no fear. I walked in, she said simply. Kill her, Vex ordered. But none of the warriors moved. They had heard too many stories by now. Are you sure that's what you want? Kim Sun asked. Look around you. Small red dots appeared on the chests of each Vorax warrior. Phantom Division operators were hidden in positions around the room, targeting them with non-lethal but effective weapons. You cannot win this, Kim Sun told them. But no one needs to die today, Vex snarled and raised his weapon. I will not be humiliated again. This is not about humiliation, Kim Sun said calmly. This is about understanding. We do not want to kill you. We could have done that many times today. We want to talk, Vex laughed bitterly. Talk? While you trap and trick my warriors? You attacked peaceful miners, Kim Sun reminded him. We defended them, but we did not kill a single Vorax warrior, even though you came here to kill humans. This truth seemed to confuse the Vorax warriors. In their culture, enemies killed each other. The concept of deliberately avoiding killing was strange to them. If you are strong enough to defeat us, why not kill us? One warrior asked. Where is the honor in this? Our honor comes from completing our mission with minimal loss of life, Kim Sun explained. The true test of strength is not how many you can kill, but how many you can save, including your enemies. The Vorax warriors looked at each other, uncertain. This idea went against everything they had been taught. Vex stepped forward suddenly. I challenge you to single combat, he said to Kim Sun. No weapons, no tricks. Just you and me. Kim Sun considered the offer. Vex was 3 times her size and much stronger. In direct combat, she would likely lose. I accept, she said, surprising everyone, including her own team. A circle formed as the Vorax warriors stepped back. Vex removed his armor, showing his muscular, scaled body. Kim Sun stood calmly, looking very small in comparison. Vex charged forward with a roar. Kim Sun waited until the last moment, then simply stepped aside. Vex stumbled past her. This is not a fight, Kim Sun said. This is a lesson. For the next 10 minutes, Vex tried to grab, hit, or tackle Kim Sun. She never struck back, but used his own momentum and weight against him, making him fall or miss again and again, whinily. Vex stood breathing heavily, his energy spent. Fight me properly, he demanded. I am, Kim Sun replied. I'm showing you that true strength isn't about destroying your opponent. Why alien warriors refuse to fight human special forces. Part 3. The Vorax High Command gathered in their war room. The massive stone chamber was lit by glowing crystals that cast long shadows on the walls. 12 senior commanders sat around a table made from rare black metal. They looked troubled. 2 more raiding parties have returned without completing their missions, said War Chief Kraz, the highest military leader under Emperor Kral. The warriors speak of human shadow demons who cannot be killed. Emperor Kral growled from his throne at the head of the table. Nonsense. They are flesh and blood like any enemy we have crushed before. Yet we have not crushed them, pointed out Science Director Rek, one of the few Vorax who valued knowledge over combat. He was smaller than the others, with lighter green scales and quick, nervous movements. The reports show a pattern. The humans called Phantom Division use methods our warriors don't understand. They use trickery instead of honorable combat, spat one commander. And they win, Rek replied simply. Emperor Kral slammed his fist on the table. Enough. I will not have the Vorax Empire stopped by a handful of humans who refuse to fight properly. Science Director Rek, I give you a mission. Study these Phantom Division humans. Learn how they think. Find their weakness, Rek bowed his head. I will need resources, and help from someone who understands both science and warfare. Take what you need, Emperor Kral said. But I want answers quickly. Rek had an unusual idea. He requested Tev, a disgraced warrior who had been demoted to record keeper after questioning battle tactics during a previous campaign. Tev had spent years studying other species instead of focusing on combat glory, a strange interest for a Vorax. Tev was surprised to be summoned by the science director. You wish to see me? He asked, entering Rek's laboratory. Tev was tall for a Vorax but leaner, with darker scales and thoughtful yellow eyes. Yes, Rek said. I need someone who thinks differently. You have studied other species, including humans. Tev nodded. I have read their literature, watched their entertainment programs. They are complicated. Good. Help me understand why our warriors fear their special forces. Across the galaxy, on the human colony world New Terra, Captain Park Jin of the Phantom Division was receiving his own mission. He stood at attention in front of General Cho, the overall commander of human special forces. Park Jin was a veteran with 15 years of experience. His face showed the small scars from many missions, but his eyes remained kind. He preferred to solve problems without violence whenever possible. Captain Park, said General Cho, a science station in the Arcturus system has been taken by Vorax forces. 27 scientists are being held there. Your mission is to free them. Do we know why the Vorax attacked a science station? Park asked. They seem to be collecting information about humans. They've downloaded all research data but haven't harmed the scientists yet. This is unusual for Vorax. They normally just destroy what they don't need. Park nodded. They're changing their approach. That's interesting. Your team leaves in 3 hours. Get those scientists home safely, Captain. Park's team consisted of 4 experienced operators. Sergeant Wu Huan was the weapons specialist who could turn everyday objects into defensive tools. Corporal Song Dai was the infiltration expert who could enter any secured building. Private Yim Su was the medic who could treat any injury under pressure. Officer Li Ju was the technical expert, who understood all kinds of machines. Their ship approached the science station carefully. It was a ring-shaped structure orbiting a small moon. Scans showed 20 Vorax life signs and 27 humans. They have guards at all airlocks, reported Li Ju, looking at her screen. But the maintenance tubes are too small for Vorax to use. We can enter there. Park studied the station layout. The scientists are being held in the main laboratory. The Vorax have set up their command center in the dining hall. We'll use Approach Plan Delta. Meanwhile, in his laboratory on the Vorax homeworld, Science Director Rek and Tev were studying recordings from previous encounters with Phantom Division operators. Look at this footage from the mining facility, Rek said, pointing to a screen. The human female, Lieutenant Kim Sun, never directly attacks Subcommander Vex. She redirects his energy against him. Tev watched with interest. It's like the human sport called judo. They use the opponent's strength as a weapon. But it's more than that, Rek insisted. Our warriors report feeling afraid, but not of pain or death. Something else frightens them, Tev thought deeply. In Vorax culture, we understand victory as destroying the enemy. The humans seem to define victory differently. At the science station, Park's team had entered through a maintenance tube. They moved silently through the narrow corridors, avoiding the Vorax patrols. Instead of attacking the guards, they placed small devices on walls and in air vents. All sensors placed, whispered Song Day through the communicator. Ready when you are, Captain. Park gave the signal. The devices activated simultaneously. Some created distracting sounds in distant parts of the station. Others interfered with Vorax communication systems. A few released a harmless gas that irritated Vorax eyes. The Vorax guards became confused and disoriented. They couldn't communicate with each other properly, and strange noises came from all directions. The gas made their eyes water, affecting their vision. What's happening? Demanded the Vorax commander, trying to coordinate his warriors. Park's team moved quickly during the confusion. They reached the laboratory where the scientists were held. 2 Vorax guards stood outside the door, blinking rapidly from the irritating gas. We need a diversion, Park told Wu Huan. Wu Huan took a small metal ball from his pocket. He threw it down the corridor where it bounced loudly. The guards turned toward the noise and Park's team moved in silently from behind. They pressed pressure points on the Vorax necks that rendered them unconscious without harm. Inside the laboratory, The scientists looked up in surprise as Park's team entered. "Phantom Division," Park told them. "We're here to take you home. Please stay quiet and follow our instructions." Back on the Vorax homeworld, Rek and Tev had made a discovery. "Look at this pattern," Tev said, pointing to a chart. "In every encounter, the human special forces target our communication first. Then they create environmental changes that disorient our warriors." "That's just basic tactics," Rek replied. "Yes, but there's something deeper. They specifically avoid killing when possible. When our warriors expect death and instead receive mercy, it confuses them completely." Rek's eyes widened. "Our entire warrior culture is based on killing enemies to prove strength. If an enemy defeats you but doesn't kill you, it suggests they have a kind of strength we don't understand," Tev finished. "Our warriors fear what they don't understand." At the science station, Park's team was leading the scientists through back corridors toward their extraction point. But they encountered a problem. A group of 5 Vorax warriors blocking their path. "We can't go back," whispered Li Ju. "More guards are coming that way." Park thought quickly. "Yim-Su, give me that container of cleaning fluid. Li Ju, your lighter, please." He combined the items to create a bright flash device. When thrown, it would create a blinding light but cause no actual damage. "When I throw this, everyone close your eyes," he instructed the scientists. "When I say run, stay close behind me." The flash temporarily blinded the Vorax guards. The humans ran past them while they were rubbing their eyes. No one was hurt, but the path was now clear. As they continued, Park noticed something odd. The Vorax were not pursuing them as aggressively as expected. They seemed to be holding back. "They're afraid of us," Songday realized. "They've heard the stories." Park had an idea. He took out his communication device and spoke clearly in the Vorax language. "Attention, Vorax warriors. This is Captain Park Jin of the Human Phantom Division. We have come for our people. We do not wish to harm you. Any warrior who stays in their current position will not be harmed. Those who try to stop us will experience the shadow sleep." There was no such thing as shadow sleep, but the Vorax didn't know that. The effect was immediate. Most Vorax patrols stopped moving, allowing the humans to proceed. Only the Vorax commander and his personal guard of 3 warriors continued to hunt them. They caught up just as Park's team reached the airlock where their ship was docked. "Stop," ordered the Vorax commander, pointing his weapon at the humans. "You will not escape." Park stepped forward while his team continued helping the scientists board the ship. "Your warriors have chosen wisely not to fight us. You should do the same." The Vorax commander laughed. "I am not afraid of your tricks, human." "It's not a trick," Park said calmly. "It's a choice. We choose not to kill unless we must. Strength isn't just about destruction." While Park kept the commander talking, Songday silently moved behind the Vorax guards. He placed tiny devices on their armor that delivered a mild electric shock. The guards dropped to the floor, temporarily paralyzed but unharmed. The commander found himself alone, facing Park. "You see," Park said, "we could have killed your warriors many times today. Instead, they will wake up in 1 hour unharmed." The Vorax commander could not understand this approach. In his culture, showing mercy was weakness, yet these humans had clearly defeated his entire team without killing anyone. Why alien warriors refused to fight human special forces. Part 5. Emperor Kral paced in his war chamber, his heavy steps echoing against the stone walls. The massive Vorax leader's scales had lost some of their shine in recent months, and his eyes showed fatigue. "The time has come to end this stalemate," he announced to his war council. "We will launch our largest attack yet against the human colony on Proxima Centauri B. 300 of our elite shock troops will lead the assault." War Chief Kraz nodded in agreement. "The shock troops have been specially trained to counter Phantom Division tactics. They will not fall for the same tricks." Science Director Rek exchanged a worried glance with his assistant Tev, but said nothing. Their research had led them to believe that this approach would fail, but the Emperor was not in a mood to listen to caution. "The attack begins in 3 days," Emperor Kral declared. "Let the humans learn the true might of the Vorax Empire." On Earth, Commander Han Te had recently been promoted to Phantom Division's Strategic Director. At 45, he was older and wiser than when he first encountered the Vorax in the arena. His hair now showed streaks of gray, but his mind remained sharp. Han was meeting with Colonel Li Jun and Officer Muir, the Vorax defector who had become an important advisor. They were reviewing the progress of the exchange program when an urgent message arrived. Our intelligence networks have detected a major Vorax fleet movement. Han read aloud. All signs point to a large-scale attack on Proxima Centauri b. Estimated 300 elite Vorax shock troops involved. Colonel Lee frowned. That's our largest colony outside the solar system. 20 million people live there. And the Emperor is sending his best warriors, Mur added grimly. This is meant to be a decisive blow. Han was quiet for a moment, thinking deeply. Then he looked up with determination in his eyes. We will not fight this battle in the traditional way. Colonel Lee, prepare a defensive force for Proxima Centauri. But I also need a small team, our very best operators. What are you planning? Lee asked. Instead of waiting for them to attack us, we will take the fight directly to them, but not in the way they expect. Han's plan was bold and dangerous. While Colonel Lee would coordinate the defense of Proxima Centauri, Han would lead a team of 12 Phantom Division operators on a mission to infiltrate Emperor Kral's command vessel. Their goal was not to kill the Emperor, but to force a direct confrontation and offer peace. Officer Mur and several other Vorax defectors provided critical intelligence for the mission, including security protocols and the layout of the Imperial flagship. The Emperor's command vessel is called the Claw of Destiny, Mur explained, showing holographic maps. It has 7 security layers. No one has ever breached even the first layer. We will, Han said simply. As the Vorax attack fleet approached Proxima Centauri, Emperor Kral stood on the bridge of his flagship, anticipating victory. Hundreds of warships surrounded the Claw of Destiny, carrying thousands of warriors eager for battle and glory. We enter the target system in 1 hour, reported the navigation officer. All warriors are prepared for combat. Emperor Kral nodded with satisfaction. Today the humans will learn that their shadow tactics cannot stand against the full might of... He was interrupted by a strange report from a lower deck. Emperor, warriors are refusing to board the assault shuttles in Bay 3. What? Kral roared. Send guards to execute them for cowardice. But the problem quickly spread. Reports came from all across the fleet. Warriors were refusing combat orders. Some claimed illness. Others simply stood motionless, refusing to move toward their assigned posts. War Chief Kraz rushed to the Emperor's side, his face showing disbelief. Majesty, we have a systemic collapse in discipline. 80% of the shock troops are refusing to fight. Impossible! Kral slammed his fist on his command console. Vorax warriors do not refuse battle. What reason do they give? Kraz looked uncomfortable. They say they are being sent to fight spirits, not soldiers. The stories about the human special forces have spread throughout the ranks. Emperor Kral was speechless with rage. Centuries of Vorax military tradition were unraveling before his eyes. Warriors who had conquered a dozen systems were now refusing to face human opponents out of superstitious fear. Meanwhile, using stealth technology and with the covert assistance of sympathetic Vorax within the fleet, Han's small team had managed to infiltrate the massive Imperial flagship. They moved silently through maintenance tunnels and service corridors, avoiding patrols. Security is lighter than expected, whispered Lieutenant Kim Sun, who had joined the mission despite being offered a promotion that would have kept her safely on Earth. They're dealing with the mutiny, Han replied quietly. That works in our favor. The team consisted of the most experienced Phantom Division operators, Han, Kim Sun, Captain Park Jin, Sergeant Yoon Do, Lieutenant Bae Min, and 7 others. Each had faced the Vorax before and understood their psychology. As they approached the central sections of the ship, they encountered their first real resistance, a squad of elite Imperial guards. Instead of attacking directly, Bae Min released tiny drones that emitted high-frequency sounds, uncomfortable to Vorax hearing. While the guards were distracted, the human team moved past them unseen. On the bridge, Emperor Kral was giving furious orders to restore discipline when the lighting suddenly failed. Emergency systems activated seconds later, bathing everything in a dim red glow. What now? The Emperor demanded. Before anyone could answer, a calm voice spoke from behind his throne. Emperor Kral, we need to talk. Every guard on the bridge raised their weapons as Han Tai stepped into view, unarmed and alone. Or seemingly alone. The rest of his team remained hidden, covering him from concealed positions. How did you get here? Kral asked, too shocked to order an immediate attack. The same way we've accomplished every mission against the Vorax, Han replied, by understanding you better than you understand yourselves. War Chief Kraz found his voice. Kill him! But Han continued speaking calmly. Before you try that, know that my team has control of your ship's environmental systems. The air you're breathing right now could be made unbreathable with a single command. We could have killed everyone on this bridge already. Instead, we chose to talk. Emperor Kral stared at the human with a mixture of fury and disbelief. What do you want? To end this conflict, Han said simply. Your warriors are refusing to fight my soldiers. Your empire is beginning to question its most fundamental beliefs. This war cannot be won through traditional Vorax methods. You lie, Kral hissed. Vorax warriors do not fear battle. Yet 80% of your shock troops are currently refusing combat, Han pointed out. Not because they fear death, but because they fear something much more powerful. The collapse of their understanding of warfare itself. As Han spoke, the rest of his team gradually revealed themselves, stepping out from hiding places around the bridge. The Imperial Guards looked to their Emperor for orders, but Kral seemed frozen in indecision. You have 12 humans against hundreds of warriors on this ship alone, Kral finally said. You cannot win. We already have, Captain Park Jin replied. The fact that we stand here in your command center proves it. Your security measures could not stop us, but more importantly, we could have killed you and your commanders already, yet we chose not to. That is the victory that your warriors cannot comprehend. A tense silence filled the bridge. The Vorax guards and officers struggled to understand what was happening. In their military doctrine, enemies who gained an advantage always pressed it to the fullest. The concept of infiltrating an enemy command center just to talk was alien to them. What are your terms? War Chief Kraz asked finally. No terms, Han replied. An invitation. End this attack. Open peace negotiations with humanity. Together we can build something better than conquest. Emperor Kral laughed bitterly. And if I refuse? Will you kill me now to prove your point? No, Han said. We will leave just as peacefully as we came. And you can continue trying to fight a war that your own warriors increasingly refuse to participate in. As they spoke, a high-ranking Vorax warrior saw an opportunity. High Warrior Grak had always sought glory, and killing the leader of the human special forces would bring him eternal fame. He silently drew a ceremonial dagger and prepared to lunge at Han's back. Sergeant Yun-Do noticed the movement. With lightning speed, he fired a tranquilizer dart that struck the attacker in the neck. The Vorax warrior collapsed before he could reach Han. He's not dead, Yun-Do announced to the shocked onlookers. He'll wake up in an hour with nothing worse than a headache. Emperor Kral had seen everything. The human could have killed High Warrior Grak, but chose not to. Once again, the Phantom Division had demonstrated the principle that had undermined Vorax military doctrine: victory without death. For several long moments, the Emperor said nothing. The bridge remained tense, with guards waiting for the order to attack. But something had changed in Kral's eyes, a flicker of understanding that had not been there before. Your warriors have defeated us without a war, he finally said to Han. You fight not just our bodies, but our beliefs, and in that battle, we cannot win. He signaled to his guards to lower their weapons. I will order the fleet to stand down. We will discuss this peace